And joining me now is Democratic Congressman André Carson of Indiana. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So let's start right with what Mick Mulvaney just said. These things are becoming more prevalent in the world. Is it Donald Trump's fault, essentially? And he argues absolutely not. Do you agree?
I won't say it's Donald Trump's fault. I think that his language, his actions, his words, his policy positions, his dog whistling has electrified those groups and energized those groups. And without him saying it explicitly, they are left to assume that he is in support of their agenda. And so I think the president has an opportunity to be very bold, and to be very clear and decisive in repudiating these organizations and distancing himself from their agenda.
So why do you think that the president isn't doing that more aggressively than he has?
That's a question you'd have to ask the president. I think that a large part of his base is composed of people who share these white supremacist views and ideologies. And honestly, I think that his appeal to making America great again, taking America back to a mythical good old days, really is a part of the white supremacist narrative that has used for decades even religious texts to support their destructive ideology.
Sir, you are one of the first Muslims elected to the United States Congress. When you hear the president respond to an attack at a mosque in the way that he did, does it make you more concerned about the safety of Muslims in our communities here at home?
I'm always concerned about the safety of Muslims across the country and even globally. There are some communities who have security and they conduct searches regularly. There are others who have and work with local law enforcement along with security at the masjid or mosque to thwart any potential violence or attacks. But more can be done, and I think local law enforcement has to play a role in that. I think local law enforcement should play a role in that. What that looks like, it's something that we can discuss. There are many Muslims who happen to be police officers. I was one of them. But I think that the law enforcement community has to deal with Muslims in a way that is not just transactional. We have a frayed history with the law enforcement community going back to J. Edgar Hoover's counterintelligence program. And so the law enforcement community has a wonderful opportunity to now start building bridges in a way that is beyond rhetoric and empty and small talk.
Switching gears a little bit, sir, but staying with the law enforcement topic just in a very different capacity. You serve on the Intelligence Committee, and Congress voted this week unanimously to, in a non-binding resolution, of course, to make the Mueller report public. What indications do you have, if any, that that report may be imminent at this point? And are you confident that there is going to be some sort of public reckoning for it?
Well, one would hope. Director Mueller is an accomplished investigator. I think we have we have committees working. We have the House Intel Committee working. We have the Southern District doing their job. We have an opportunity for the American people to really see what is at hand. In fact, if it's discovered that there are criminal connections to the president, that must be displayed before the American people. If there's no evidence there against the president, then we have to move forward. Look, the American people are concerned about jobs, economic growth, making sure their children have a secure future. They're concerned about the future of their retirement. We need to get back to those issues that matter to the American people, but we can't get past that hump until we're able to see what's in the report. The Intelligence Committee, we're able to continue our own investigation and really do what the taxpayers sent us to do, and that's to be good stewards and good trustees over their interests.
All right. Tonight, your colleague Ilhan Omar has a new opinion piece out in the Washington Post. The headline says, "We must apply our universal values to all nations. Only then will we achieve peace." She talks a little bit about her own background in a refugee camp in Kenya. Do you think that your leadership has handled how the controversies around Ilhan Omar has been satisfactory to you? Do you think that they have treated her with fairness and respect?
Well, first let me say that Ilhan is not only my sister, she is my dear friend. She's very brilliant. I think when Keith Ellison came to Congress and I came to Congress, that was a bit of a shock to the system. I think we've had great leadership in folks like Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who saw to it that I served on the Intelligence Committee. And so she's been visionary in that regard in terms of making sure that groups who are typically or traditionally marginalized have a voice in Congress. But there's more to be done. My other sister, Rashida Tlaib, raised an excellent point in pointing out the Islamophobia that even exists in Congress. And when you're dealing with human beings, I mean, this is true. So it's an opportunity for us not to proselytize, but to show through our hard work in Congress that we're human beings just like everyone else. We have the same concerns. We have family struggles. We have work struggles. We're trying to do what's best for our constituencies, just like our other colleagues. And we need to work together to pass legislation that will ultimately benefit not only our constituents, but the American people.
Congressman André Carson, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
What a pleasure. Thank you.